Black history is American history.
He witnessed the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
And local history.
What is not often connected is how many African Americans contributed.
Artists, educators, and athletes.
I'm a living proof of that legacy.
People redefining their history.
I believe every doll has a story.
And uncovering their own.
There's always something else to learn.
Remembering the past.
And guiding the next generation.
I can be a historic figure that can help change the world.
Welcome to a CBS News Philadelphia special, Black History Month. Salute to past, present, and future. We are joining you from a National Historic Landmark, Mother Bethel AME Church in Philadelphia. Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha Brown.
And I'm Siafa Lewis. During this show, we'll introduce you to some of the people keeping Black history alive and making history today.
Well, this is the Mother Church of the oldest African Methodist Episcopal congregation in the nation.
This land at 6th and Lombard has been owned continuously by African Americans longer than any other parcel in the country.
Everywhere you can see reminders of the church's founder, Bishop Richard Allen. He was born into slavery, bought his freedom, and dedicated his life to his ministry and justice. Bishop Allen founded Bethel AME in 1794 after Black parishioners left a segregated Methodist church, determined to create a religious home of their own. As the church grew, its modest buildings were replaced by larger ones, culminating in this grand church completed in 1890. Underneath it, Bishop Allen lies at rest. The faithful preserve the story of the church in a museum, including its first wooden pulpit.
A trailblazing tennis pro and educator from Cape May continues to change lives half a century after his death. Here's CBS News Philadelphia's Ryan Hughes.
Even on a cold winter day, the courts are busy at the William J. Moore Tennis Center in Cape May. The club is woven into the fabric of the seaside resort's rich history, and the founder's name, William J. Moore, proudly hangs on the brick building in the shadow of the tennis courts.
This great African American athlete, educator, and community activist still has important points that matter to us today.
Moore was born in 1872 to enslaved parents. He grew up in Westchester, graduated from Howard University, and later landed in Cape May to pursue a career in education.
Moore began teaching here in West Cape May in 1895. For more than 50 years, he taught 8 grades of Black children until segregated schools were outlawed.
A plaque now sits near West Cape May Elementary, where Moore's school once stood. He instilled pride in his students. Many pursued higher education, and in 1973, some of his former students established the William J. Moore Foundation, preserving his legacy and awarding scholarships to financially challenged high school seniors in Cape May County.
I would probably have not gone to college without Mr. Moore's help.
Deacon Fashall is the chief of police in Cape May. He received Moore's scholarship in 1993 and credits him for his career.
I'm a living proof of that legacy, I would say, because a part of Mr. Moore is the people that he inspired.
Both Chief Fashall and Anderson Towns sit on the board of the William J. Moore Foundation, which just marked 50 years of helping students pursue their dreams. Moore's name continues to live on in the classroom and on the courts.
One of the patriots of the American Revolution was a young Black Philadelphian, a war hero who grew up to become one of the city's most influential residents, and some of his descendants are here. So let's have a look. I'm going to let you do the honors. Dolly Marshall is unwrapping an irreplaceable image preserved at the Historical Society of Pennsylvania.
And this is the original portrait done in 1818 of James Forten Sr.
James Forten was born in 1766, a free man of African American heritage in Philadelphia.
He witnessed the signing of the Declaration of Independence. He was present at Independence Hall, hearing those words of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
At age 15, he watched black and white soldiers of the Rhode Island Regiment on their way to fight for independence at Yorktown. Fortin joined the fight as a privateer on several ships. He survived capture by the British and was freed in 1782. He started a successful sail-making business on what is now Penn's Landing.
He was a craftsman, and he created a tool to make sails stronger, and he employed black men and white men, and he was known to be the wealthiest man in the city of Philadelphia.
The war hero and abolitionist died in 1842 and lies at rest in Eaton Cemetery in Delaware County. Marshall herself, an award-winning preservationist, knew of his legacy, but not her connection.
I was having a conversation with my mom about the family tree, and she was telling me stories. And I said, I think we're related to James Fortin of Philadelphia. And she said, yes, there's many Fortins in our family. It makes me feel proud, number one, but it also makes me feel that my purpose reinvigorated. I'm a part of a big story, and that I also have a duty to make sure that stories such as his and all African American history is known. And I'm just so happy to be a piece of the legacy of the Fortin family.
There is much more to come as CBS News Philadelphia celebrates Black history.
It's just as important as the Betsy Ross House.
This Philadelphia house was once owned by a legend of black music. We'll show you the fight to preserve the legacy of singer Marian Anderson.
Also coming up, this woman found more than 100 family members thanks to the help of black researchers.
I'm not only putting those people in a tree, I'm connecting with them.
And later, I meet black healthcare workers who are running a mini nursing school for kids.
That is all coming up as CBS News Philadelphia celebrates Black History Month. Salute to past, present, and future. Welcome back, everyone, to our CBS News Philadelphia special, Black History Month. Salute to past, present, and future.
We're joining you from Mother Bethel AME Church here in Philadelphia. Underneath is the Richard Allen Museum. It's dedicated to the history of the church, including its connection to the Underground Railroad.
In 1939, singer Marian Anderson of Philadelphia made history with a concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
Now there's a fight to preserve her old house in her beloved hometown. Here's CBS News Philadelphia's Howard Monroe.
I feel a strong weight on my shoulders every day of my life.
Jillian Patricia Pirtle is in the middle of the renovation project of her life. She's the CEO of the Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society, located on Martin Street in Philadelphia's Graduate Hospital neighborhood. During the COVID lockdowns, a pipe burst and the house was left with $500,000 in water damage. The opera singer was most famous for her 1939 concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Because she was black, she was denied access to the Constitution Hall by the Daughters of the American Revolution. The hope is young people who will return to this museum soon will be inspired by Anderson's story.
So they can say, I too can be a young tenor. I can be a baritone bass. I can be a historic figure that can help change the world.
Even at the height of her career in a segregated United States, Anderson had to go overseas to find steady work. However, she always considered Martin Street here in Philadelphia to be home.
After she died in 1993, the home was purchased by the late Blanche Burton Lyles, who founded the museum and got the property listed on the National and Philadelphia Registers of Historic Places.
It'll look great when it's done, absolutely.
The restoration work includes not only restoring Anderson's house, but also her designer dresses. Museum officials hope to reopen the museum in late spring of 2024.
In 1902, Julian Abel became the first African American to graduate from the University of Pennsylvania with an architecture degree. He contributed to some of Philadelphia's most iconic buildings. Here is CBS News Philadelphia anchor Janelle Burrell.
The grandeur of this 111-year-old home, nestled along Walnut Street in the heart of University City, is breathtaking to behold, But the history behind it is even more stunning.
What was that moment like for you when you realized that Julian Abel played a hand in this building?
I mean, it blew my mind. It's exceptionally poignant when Julian Abel is someone who, in a sense, worked in the shadows.
Julian Abel was the first African-American ever to graduate from the University of Pennsylvania School of Architecture in 1902, during a time when segregation and racism were rampant. William Whitaker is the curator of Penn's Architectural Archives.
So it's one thing just to get into school, but then he was also the best student.
Eisenlohr Hall is now the official home to Penn's president.
He had a hand in sort of designing the rooms themselves.
Yeah. We know Julian Abel made the shapes, decided on the details of the fireplaces, the crown molding.
As a black man and the lead architect for one of the city's most prestigious firms in the early 1900s, the Philly native was a true trailblazer, studying in Europe and also part of the team that executed the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
He did the renderings, he did the floor plans. He certainly single-handedly showed that someone with talent could rise to the top of their profession.
And just down the Ben Franklin Parkway, more of Abel's lasting imprint on Philly, the Parkway Central Library.
Here in the main hall of the library, you can see more of Abel's incredible talent, including this exquisite staircase you see here. And then if you look up, you can see the intricate ceiling and moldings that he designed with meticulous detail.
Excellence. He was really, really good at what he did.
Abel was the great-grand-uncle of Peter Cook, a renowned architect himself.
It's hard not to be awed by the immense talent that came from his fingers and his brain.
But he was known to shy away from the spotlight and only in recent years has received credit for much of his work.
To me, that underscores the importance of Black History Month. If we don't, frankly, boast a little bit on behalf of people who came before us, then those stories are going to be lost.
When a Germantown church needed to be renovated, it took the opportunity to rethink its artwork to better reflect its community. Here's CBS News Philadelphia's Josh Sanders.
On the walls inside St. Vincent de Paul Roman Catholic Church in Germantown is a story of hope and representation.
Well, two things are most important in the whole project were Jesus and the cross.
Kevin Jones is the artist behind the 14 Stations of the Cross, representing Jesus' journey to crucifixion and death, painting Jesus as a black man.
What was this process like for you?
I was changed from the process. I came out a different person.
4 years ago, Jones was hired to paint each station reflecting people who fill the pews on any given Sunday, people who look just like him.
This section of the city, Germantown, is probably 85% people of African descent.
Father Sy has led the parish for 11 years and serves a congregation that is predominantly made up of black and brown people.
We wanted a cultural diversity so everybody could feel this is my church.
Every time a new one would go up, I would just have tears.
Julie Kring was part of hiring Cavan and says black representation in the 14 stations isn't seen in many churches. She will never forget a conversation she had with a black girl in Sunday school several years ago.
Looked up and there was a painting, the traditional painting of Jesus with the children. And Jesus was white and all the children were white. And the little girl looked up at me and said, "Miss Julie, did Jesus hang out with little black kids too?"
Jones's paintings are the answer to that question. The rich colors in every panel shine bright after a year-long journey.
I didn't want to use the sort of traditional robes, gowns and stuff that usually you see in these kind of paintings.
He hopes that difference is felt by every parishioner and that every station celebrates the uniqueness of the church's community.
I hope that they serve the function, that they're there for.
There's a lot more to come as CBS News Philadelphia celebrates Black history.
A group of genealogists is helping African Americans find their families.
Also, I'll visit an after-school program created by black nurses to bring young people into the field.
And coming up later,
Let's make all these kids feel beautiful.
a mother highlighting the beauty of black girls' hair.
It's all coming up on this CBS News Philadelphia special, Black History Month. Salute to past, present, and future. Welcome back to our CBS News Philadelphia special, Black History Month. Salute to past, present, and future. We are currently inside the museum at the historic Mother Bethel AME Church.
Well, Bishop Richard Allen began the church in a former blacksmith shop. The first pulpit was in Annville. In 2010, to commemorate Allen's 250th birthday, artist Gail Gaines wrapped this anvil in a story quilt, a powerful symbol of unshakable faith.
African Americans who want to break down barriers and find their ancestors can get help from a local group of researchers.
Well, CBS News Philadelphia anchor Yuki Washington talked to one woman about the family she's found so far, and she's not done.
The more Lanzi Witherspoon looks, the bigger her family becomes.
Genealogy is like a puzzle for me, and when I figure it out, I find my family.
She picked up the love of genealogy from her mother-in-law. Witherspoon helped her own father find his sister, and she found a cousin who was 105 years old and got to meet her before she passed. She thought her great-grandmother, Lanzi, was an only child. Using records and DNA, she found 20 of her great-grandmother's half-siblings, culminating in a huge reunion.
We had a massive reunion 2 years after I found this part of the family with 100 people.
100 people?
100 people that I didn't know 6, 7 years ago.
Witherspoon even found her family connections to a Civil War veteran, Solomon Dara, whose name is engraved on a memorial in Washington, D.C.
Multiple generations to find out where your family came from is powerful.
The internet has made genealogy more accessible, but the legacy of slavery makes it harder for African Americans to find their histories. Census records before emancipation can be hard to find or non-existent. That's where the African American Genealogy Group is ready to help. Carolyn Williams is the president.
We still try to use different strategies to maybe there's one other source that we haven't considered.
The Genealogy Group spreads the word in Black neighborhoods and online.
So it sounds like the Genealogy Group has just changed your life.
It really has. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know anything about census records. I didn't know anything about death certificates.
And Lanzi says she is not done digging.
I think it will go on forever.
Okay. What gives you the confidence in that?
There's always something else to learn.
And passed down to the next generation.
A group of Black nurses wants children to know about opportunities in the nursing field and wants to get them interested early. I went to the Mini Nurse Academy.
They may not know it now, but for some, it may be a way out. Others may not want to leave, but instead will stay and try to make their communities better.
You're going to do third.
Either way, seeds are being planted. The Southeastern Pennsylvania Area Black Nurses Association is holding its second annual Mini Nurse Academy at General George G. Meade School in North Philly.
I'm learning CPR, blood pressure. It's teaching you how, like if someone falls unconscious, and you can help them and heal them up.
Skyla and Ian are two of the 3rd through 6th graders in this year's class. Monica Harmon, who is a registered nurse as well as an assistant clinical nursing professor at Drexel, is the area chapter president.
We needed to make sure that we reach children when they are younger to let them know about nursing as a viable profession.
Experienced nurses are joined by Thomas Jefferson University nursing students.
My second favorite one is blood pressure.
Harmon says healthcare needs more Black nurses to combat health inequities and disparities.
We often walk in two worlds, right? So we kind of know our culture, our neighborhoods, but then we're also in the healthcare system. And if you talk about nursing, nursing is still mostly white. And so we walk in that world where we understand the jargon, if you will, in healthcare, but then also we can say, okay, this is what that really means.
And for the kids here, seeing Black nurses could make the difference.
But my hope is that they are even more curious, because our children are already naturally curious. They learn how to use the resources available to them.
I want to help people and I want to work with kids. Kids are easier.
Coming up next, an artist inspired by her daughter's hair
to create dolls that look like she does.
We have to be diligent in putting out representation so that we truly accept who we are and we learn to love ourselves.
This is a CBS News Philadelphia special Black History Month salute to past, present, and future.
Welcome back to our CBS News Philadelphia special Black History Month salute to past, present, and future.
A Philadelphia artist wants Black girls to see themselves in all their beauty.
CBS News Philadelphia's Aziza Schuler introduces us to the creator of La Diva dolls.
I consider myself a multidisciplined griot. Griot is a storyteller, and I believe every doll has a story.
Through her one-of-a-kind collectible dolls, Tiffany Dean is rewriting a narrative that many Black women and girls have learned about their hair.
Society taught us that there was something wrong with your hair.
At her home in Philadelphia, Dean has been crafting La Diva dolls for the past 27 years.
I have all kinds of hair here.
From kinky afro puffs,
her name is Simone,
to honey blonde voluminous crimps.
I think I like this today.
The hair textures and styles run the gamut, initially inspired by her daughter.
Black dolls didn't look like us. It wasn't a direct reflection of us other than the fact that it was brown. Their hair was still straight. My daughter, you just wet her hair and it draws up to her head and then the curls start springing out. You know, and they go every which way. So I created dolls that look like her, that look like me, that look like so many other women and children. We have to be diligent in putting out representation so that we truly accept who we are and we learn to love ourselves in that state.
Going against the grain and creating something beautiful in the process.
Well, thank you so much for joining us as CBS News Philadelphia celebrates Black History Month.
And stay with CBS News Philadelphia throughout the year for more stories reflecting the heart in our community.